Rich, very good evening. What's your take on the news?
Yeah, this has been something that the PGA Tour has been discussing, I think, over the last 2 or 3 months that I've heard of it, anyways. And I had a chance to talk with Billy Schrader, who's player relations for the PGA Tour, and he just basically brought it in so many simplistic words: is that you're going to have current players, potential, future players of the PGA Tour, and even players that played on the PGA Tour, such as myself. We're going to be able to invest in this new venture and basically have stake in the game. We have equity in the PGA Tour enterprise. This new division of the PGA Tour, and it's just a way to, I guess, incentivize players to stay because there's going to be a lot of money, a lot of opportunity with TV contracts coming up, so on and so forth. And what the PGA Tour is looking to invest in is not just tournaments; it's also golf courses and other ventures that we don't quite know about as of yet. But I think this is a really positive step in helping PGA Tour players feel like they're part of it and not just independent contractors that play golf for the PGA Tour.
But Rich, Jamie Weir just said there's still this elephant in the room. What does it mean for a relationship between the Saudi-backed public investment fund, LIV Golf, and the PGA Tour?
Again, I'm just going to go by what Billy Schroeder told me. He actually thinks that this helps the cause of getting the Saudis involved. Once you see a big consortium of gentlemen that are successful, like John Henry and that group, that I think the Saudis understand now that there's some smart people in play at the PGA Tour who are investing in them and believe in them. And I think that this basically only helps the PGA Tour's cause to actually do something with the Saudis. Again, this is still relatively new to me. I tried to get as much information as I could for the PGA Tour, but again, they stay tight-lipped just a little bit. So I dragged everything out of them I could.
Okay, well, that's great. Rory has said, hasn't he, that he's changed his mind and he would now welcome back players who've gone to LIV without financial penalties. Is he right?
I read that this morning, and I was a little taken back by it. I don't know if he's right. I don't know if I fully believe that. I think that there's a way to integrate new tournaments possibly in the fall for these players to get together and play outside of the majors. But as far as the PGA Tour, I'd have to really sit down and think about that. I think that going, get back on everything that he said and he believed in is certainly his right. But I would kind of look at it and say, I don't know if I'm ready to allow them to come back to the PGA Tour quite yet. But I think there would be an opportunity, or should be an opportunity, for events outside of the PGA Tour, outside of the majors, for everybody to get together, the top players in the world, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, and get together and play with the likes of Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, and John Rahm, obviously, and do something in the offseason. I don't think that the PGA Tour should allow them quite yet. I think that some things still need to be worked out between the Saudis, LIV, and the PGA Tour before I think that should be allowed to happen.
Rich, you're a tough audience, but do you think in the end, some way down the line, everything will be sorted and there will be one game of golf for everybody?
I do. I think that's the way everything is kind of brewing at the moment. Again, I think that's why the announcement today for the PGA Tour and John Henry's group getting involved. And I think, again, we're going to see the Saudis get involved in some format. I really think that in the next 5 years, we're going to have a different world tour where you are going to get the top 48 players going around the world. I think it's going to be modeled a lot after F1, which has been talked about for years, where you get the best of the best out there around the world. And whether it's 14 weeks, 18 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever it is, I think you're going to see that. And I think the DP World and the PGA Tour are going to merge, and there's still going to be a PGA Tour and DP World Tour, but it's not necessarily going to include the top 48 players in the world. I think that's where we're going to. Again, I'm looking at this timeline, probably I'm going to give it about 5 years from now, just because I know how slow moving the PGA Tour and DP World Tour are. They've got to get all the players on board as well to do this, and they have to sign up and they have to play every single event.
Rich, really interesting to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks.